This is JordanTower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe, and let's get right into the news. And again, if you're watching from Jamaica, prayers to you. If you still have power, you probably still have power because the storm won't hit till tonight. Please take the storm seriously. This is a crazy storm. And I don't think Jamaica's ever been hit with this much impact before. So, pray. And I pray for my relatives on my wife's side that are there. I hope they make it through and they have power afterwards, because a lot do have solar. So hopefully they have power afterwards and they can rebuild the roads and everything in Jamaica. Diddy expected to be released May 8th, 2028. I bet you that he will get, what do they call it again? It's not a pardon. They're going to commute his stay. I bet you around Christmas time. They're not going to do it right now. It's too right after the judge's decision and everything. I don't think they're going to do it right away. But I definitely believe that he will be released around Christmas time or right after Christmas. Because, I'm going to be honest, for what they charged him with, it's a harsh sentence. I saw a guy sentenced in the same court around the same time for abusing children that got less time than this. That makes no sense at all. There's something deeper going on there. 50 Cent in the club throwing $60,000. He's trying to make a point. But was he really throwing that much? I don't know. We'll get to him in a minute because he was fueling the whole beef between Yayo, Memphis Bleek, and Jim Jones, because they're all, beefing right now. But anyways, I saw Dame Dash say that he was going to sign Juelz Santana before Cameron even signed him. Juelz used to be in a group with Bathgate. That's an artist from Harlem. And they were trying to get signed at like 14, 15, but Dame didn't think they were ready yet. So later, Cameron picked up Juelz out of that group, and because of Tobe, a guy named Tobe that introduced Cameron to Juelz. And, I see a lot of people talk about Juelz Santana, and yes, they're right. If you were around during that time, right, experienced that era, Juelz had all the influence. 02, 03, 04, 05, 06. Juelz had all the influence. But Dipset started to crumble in 05. 06, Jim Jones, because Jim Jones was trying to become an artist. Jim Jones gets in his feelings. He didn't feel like he was getting supported. All Dipset members talked smack about each other. I don't care which one. I've been around most of them. They all talk smack about each other. They're unified at the end of the day, but they do talk smack about each other, right? A lot of division in Dipset. It was never really totally organized. It could have been one big label that Cameron could have gotten a deal for, but Cameron just decided to let people use the logo. It's not his fault. That's just what he wanted to do. Juelz had a movement, Skull Gang. It was okay. After that, around 07, 08, I did a few videos with him in that, but really, Juelz could have been more of a leader. I think he tried to put on too many people in Skull Gang instead of just picking one or two people. Some of the people he picked just was not it. I'm not going to say who. And yeah, he could have ushered in new talent, and he didn't have to pick the talent necessarily from people he knew. It could have been people that just are showing promise. I think he missed the boat on leading a new generation. And I'm going to tell you what really was the worst thing. Jim Jones having influence over Juelz. Jim Jones was able to sway Juelz to go more with him, and they had this issue with Cameron. When Cameron beefed with 50 Cent, Juelz and Jim went against Cam, right? Juelz was convinced that Cameron was holding him back in his Rockefeller deal. Remember, around that time, they all had beef with Jay-Z, who was the head of Rockefeller. Juelz was on the shelf. Wasn't good at all. It wasn't good at all. And I think that just Juelz just didn't have it in him to go to the next level, which is fine. Some people are just artists. But I think Jim really misled him because Jim believed he could go to the next level. It looked like he had it in him, but he didn't. He fumbled with Max B, fumbled with Stack Bundles. And Stack Bundles died because that's not Jim Jones's fault. But who says if Stack Bundles got all the money that he needed at the time, maybe he would have also moved out of Far Rockaway and only dipped in and out of there. He was still living there with the cars. Most people make the wrong decisions and they get the cars first. I don't know. He didn't do what 50 Cent or a lot of, and he had the money. Jim Jones got $8 million from Sony. I don't know if it was around that time, but he had the money to get Stack Bundles, maybe a crib like 50 Cent did for Yayo, outside of the hood, so you don't go back to the hood and die. A lot of things, man. It is what it is. But it's a shame, Dipset was a powerful movement, and it crumbled. Just like everything else. Rockefeller crumbled. Things can't... When you get that many egos, it's hard to keep something together. Look at even Cash Money, Young Money fell apart. It's never be the same. So Memphis Bleek responds to 50 Cent and Yayo by saying, "You guys are just proving my point that you need Boss Man. So do you, Memphis Bleek. Yo, you wouldn't have a show. You wouldn't have any podcast if it wasn't for Jay-Z making the phone call. Okay? You needed that. Nori and all them, they helped you out, and you got a podcast. And it's okay. It's not really that crazy. You've had a couple, people always like those old conversations about Rockefeller and everything. But what are you going to do beyond that? I like Memphis Bleek, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying everybody's taking the easy route. These are rappers that had millions of dollars of marketing dollars put into them, right? And they can't rap anymore? Memphis Bleek's trying, but you had 20 years to drop an album since the Rockefeller split up. And you didn't. A lot of these people let their careers go down because they were used to a label. They should have gotten signed somewhere else. Memphis Bleek didn't even try to get signed somewhere else. And now you're going to podcasting, which is dude, that wasn't even you didn't start out with a passion for media. You guys thought it was corny to do media. Now you're media. Because that's all you can do. It's really sad when you look at it, But, hey. It is what it is. So Warren G's getting some blowback from PAC stories, right? Pause, right? He says, once again, this was before the industry PAC. Is my guy I think it was something about paying him $1,500 or something. And people were getting, he says, PAC is my guy. Stop all that guesstimates. And yes, I didn't have bread then. And yes, money was owed. And yes, it was the beginning. So stop. And yes, I did try to bail him out. That's what real people do when they can. First of all this stuff was before any of us were big in the industry. Some story. For dummies thinking people were rich already, stop and listen. This is why stuff got twisted, because you have a lot of illiterate people thinking they Einstein. Take your back to grade school. So some story about money with PAC or something like that, and he's getting blow. It's dude. Yo, people don't put things in perspective. That people weren't rich all the time. There was and how rich were they? They just started getting on. It takes a while to get rich. Oh, he says, after fans came after Warren G over his Pac owed me $1,500 story, Club Shay Shay. He says this was before they blew up. Pac is my guy. Stop all the guesstimates. I tried to bail him out. Anyways. It was a good, everyone loves a good story. The industry was really crazy back then. People don't even understand. I wasn't even around the industry then. But if you hear stories, like when I started getting in the industry, like things were rough back then. There wasn't as much money flowing. And again, pray for Jamaica. I appreciate you all. Oh yeah, Ray J says Sukihana is the love of his life. She's definitely a vacuum cleaner. That's why he's in love. She's a vacuum. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, Ray J, go get your girl, man. So please pray for Jamaica. I now have relatives there from marriage, and my mother-in-law is there. They're in the eye of the storm is going to pretty much go over the house. Everything's strapped down, and we sent people over there, pay people over there to go strap everything down for my mother-in-law, and just hopefully everything makes it, man. I just put in a bunch of solar stuff, so hopefully that makes it, and it can give them power after the storm. If it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it, but I hope it does, for the mere fact that it would supply power to the house, and they can still have light and fans and the AC, gets hot. So, anyways, prayers for Jamaica. They have plenty of food. I know that. I wish they bought more water, but they did fill up a bunch of barrels with water. Hopefully those stay standing so they can flush toilets if the water goes out. Because they live along where the main pipes are, so they have... So, there's, just so you know, like in Jamaica, once you start getting in Jamaica, like inward, they live in the outskirts, right? Like meaning the outer band. So there's a big... that's where a lot of the big power lines run and water lines and sewer lines, right? Once you get into the bush, they call it the bush in Jamaica, a lot of people go off black water tanks, and they get water trucks that fill up everything, and that's how you flush your toilet and everything. Some people have water tanks built in a concrete tank, Like some people have old school tanks, and they're on city water. I mean, they're on country water, I would call it. I wouldn't even call it city water. So it's like it's coming from a pipe. So that's why they had to fill up the blue 50-gallon barrels just in case that goes out. You can still flush your toilet at least. If they lose light, they still have solar and battery. So that should be okay. But I'm worried, man. But I feel like I've thought of everything I could. They got solar, battery, chargers for phones, solar lights, solar flashlights. A lot of straps down there to strap things down. I don't know, And the guys across the street paid them to do everything. So, because I'm not there, obviously. I left 2 weeks ago. So, anyways, just say a prayer, man. Appreciate you all. This is JordanTower with JT News. Peace.